Yo, what's up? It's Groundhog coming out of Mastermind Bulls in Pinellas Park, Florida. St. Pete, Tampa area. Back for another video, you know what I'm saying? So we're out here prepping. Got another hurricane on the way. Hurricane Milton. I take all these serious. Just got hit with Helene. Wasn't cool. Wasn't cool at all. A lot of people lost a lot of stuff. Houses, cars, life-changing type stuff, man. So we're out here prepping. Getting ready, either we're going to take off depending on what's up. It's supposed to be a direct hit. Either we're out of here or we're going to hunker down like we did last time. Everything was good. The plywood flew off the front window. That was about it. But other than that, we didn't really take any damage. Some leaves and stuff. You can see in the other video, like some leaves and some stuff. Branches are on the floor, but nothing super crazy. But it has been life-changing for a lot of people right here. So anyway, we got another one coming up, which ain't no good. I can't stand these, man. Can't stand these hurricanes. So, yeah, we're out here prepping. Gym's going to be closed for the next few days. So anyway, yeah, this video right here is going to be about, bully dog shows, bully breed dog shows. So I went to one recently, and I was just, it wasn't even a thought in my mind, about creating one or having one. So I went there, I was like, this is cool, man. I'm like, damn, this really reminds me of a jiu-jitsu tournament, and I'm like, this really, the vibe, even the structure, the business model. So, I started thinking, I'm like, all right, I got my pups, I'm saying? I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead. I don't know. The light bulb just went off. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should go ahead and invest in creating a bully show. I see, there's a squad of them, there's a squad of jiu-jitsu tournaments. There's more jiu-jitsu tournaments out there. So I was like, you know what? So I asked a friend of mine. She's a experienced breeder out here in the Florida area, South Florida. That's where I'm from. I'm originally from California. Then I moved to South Florida. Then I moved up to this area to open up a business. So I'm asking her about it. I'm like, hey, check this out. I'll break you off some money if you tell me the ins and outs. And she was like, nah, I got you for free. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna tell you for free. And I'm like, nah. This takes a lot of time and effort and experience. So anyway, we went back and forth about the money thing. She didn't want to take it. I eventually end up twisting her fingers and was able to give her the money, sell her the money. But besides the point, I really appreciate that she didn't want to take it. But I understand that this knowledge is valuable, especially because I'm new to the game. So, in our conversation, I'm asking about, I have a list of stuff, I'm off the top of my head. I don't have the list in front of me, but, what's the startup cost? What's the equipment needed? How many people are employed? How many people are showing up? What does it consist of? How is it structured? And like anything, even a jiu-jitsu tournament, any kind of business, there's like a base model, and then it kind of varies here and there. So, but, as I'm, writing all this stuff down, I'm like, okay, I like it. I'm asking her about the numbers, like, what do these numbers bring? What kind of numbers do they bring in? And she's telling me, and she actually, I think the next day or the day after, she had bring another friend, experienced guy on the phone. I don't really know him, but I asked him to say, hey man, well, what are these, what's the average? And then they told me the numbers. I'm like, all right, cool. Not so much of a small one, but not a gigantic one, but these average ones bring around the same as my old jiu-jitsu tournament that I recently just sold. And that was successful. Still is. There's another one coming up. They're gonna continue to keep running. I just end up going down different business ventures with that, and but it was a successful business. I started it and exited successfully. So with that being said, yeah, man, I'm about to jump in the bully game, but I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I know what I'm doing either. You know what I'm saying? It's a learning curve for me, but like they say, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. If you don't know the answer, employ somebody that does. So that's where I'm at right now. I have a few different resources. My friend, the female experienced breeder, she's experienced breeder. She's worked shows before. She's had one show. She's going to have another one, I believe, in December. So she has experience in this game. This is one, and I have another experienced breeder up here. He's like he's been a judge, and he's experienced competitor. Like, meaning he's a breeder and he brings his pups to compete. So, which is cool. So they're great resources that are in the game that know the ins and outs of this situation. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to build some knowledge about it, and at this point, since I don't know much, and while I'm learning and I'm studying, I want to employ them. I need a team anyway, so I want to employ them to manage the show. I'll be there too. I'm not doing this to be famous. I'm not doing this to be seen. I'd prefer not to even be seen. If anybody's ever seen Kaiser Sose, or that movie, dang, what was it called? Not the Untouchables. That was the other one. It was Unusual Suspects, and then Kaiser Sose. So nobody knew who he was. At the end of the movie, he's sitting here in front of the detective, and he's looking at the board. Anybody that's seen the movie knows what I'm talking about. He's looking at the board, and he's all like, yeah, and he's saying this, he's saying that, and he's looking at the coffee cup, and he's saying all these different things, and that's actually Kaiser Sose. Then he had like a limp. I think he was playing like he was crippled and this and that, and all of a sudden he walks away on a cane and gets in the limousine, I believe, and then he dips, and then all of a sudden, the detective, everything kind of came to the detective, like, hold on, blah, 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 and he looks behind him, and the dude's just reading everything off the back of the board, like, not verbatim, but Buddy might have had, like, a New York postcard, and the coffee cup said this, and he's like, yeah, talking about New York, and then whatever was on the coffee cup. Anyway, I'm going way off subject. But, yeah, I'm not doing this thing to be famous. I'm not doing this thing to be, like, known. You know, I know that's, from what I hear and what I'm learning, this is real big into the bully game, like, all right, the more you're known, the more, when it comes to the dog shows, you know what, I guess anything, to be honest. Yeah, even with the breeding, you know. So let me not say that. One, I'm not interested in being known into the dog show game, the breeding game. I'm not interested in like a popularity contest either, but I am definitely want to market myself, put myself out there for my customers. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's not about being like, hey, I want to be famous. You know, I'm a businessman at this point. You know what I'm saying? I'm a businessman. I want to make money. I came from having nothing, you know, to not that I'm super rich either at this moment. This point, but I'm doing okay, and I want to do better. You know what I'm saying? So, at the moment, where I'm at right now, I'm trying to build the foundations. I have, I'm looking to drop $20,000 to invest, and I'm looking at different venues. The venues I talked to 2 so far, waiting on a third. You know, there's a few more but anyway, the 2 that I found, there's $6,000 to $7,000 for the venue costs, which is cool. A little bit more than it was for jiu-jitsu tournaments, but I get it because everybody doesn't allow dogs. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. The insurance is different. One of them said, hey, you have to have insurance for dog bites. I didn't even think about that, but it's all good. My budget's $20,000, where I don't want to go super low and have it like outdoors, and then I don't want to go super high and have it like in a 85,000 foot facility either. Not yet. I'd love to grow there, but wherever 20,000 will drop me at, I want to be right there with the sweet spot and go ahead and progress from there. So yeah, if anybody has any knowledge about this, anybody has any experience in this dog show game, man, feel free to drop it in the comments. You know, hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on TikTok. I'd love to gain any insight about, like, you know, the equipment, the cost, the locations. You know, I'm here in Florida. I do have an outline that my friend, my female friend sent me, or not, you know, she gave me as I wrote it down in my notebook. But I like to double check, triple check, and see all the ins and outs. I'm studying, I think and Grow Rich, study the most successful people in the world, you know, at what they're doing. So I'm studying, I've learned about this cat, Julian Williams. I don't know him personally. I see he's throwing the Rumble in the Jungles. They look huge. They look cranked up. I love it. So I'm watching his shows. I'm like, all right, if this guy's successful in this world, I'm like, let me go ahead and watch this cat. My friend of mine, I don't want to say her name, you know, I'm not sure if she wants to be put out there or not, but, you know, my female friend of mine, from high school, she told me that, I lost my train of thought. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But anyway, back to the dog show. So yeah, I'm building the structure right now, or gathering the knowledge, I guess, you know, for this structure. Then once it goes, like I said, I'm going to employ someone to manage it for me. I'm going to be right there. I'm going to be right there marketing. I'm going to be right there setting up. I'm going to be right there. I'm going to have my squad from my academy, you know, working there also, you know, working the front door, you know, wherever they can. They're not experienced judges or anything like this. That's what I'm going to need them for, because they have their connections, which I'm going to pay for these resources. I'm not asking anything for free. So yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to it, man. You know, it's very similar where we don't want to throw them on the same day as other tournaments. So I got to look around. That's one of the differences is with the jiu-jitsu tournaments. We have a program. called Smooth Comp, where you can see all the different tournaments. You know, in the bully game, I'm seeing that they don't really have that. It's kind of scattered out where you got to kind of figure it out and see. So, you know, that's I hear Julian Williams has online registration. So from what I'm seeing, the majority of shows, you go there, you pay, same kind of concept as a jiu-jitsu tournament. You go there, you pay at the door, you pay to compete. You know, you compete, you get your prizes, and the breeders and school owners are very similar. You know, you got to think, if you are an MMA school owner, you know, AKA you can compare it to a breeder. You have a bunch of students. You know, you have a bunch of students that are compare that to American bullies. Your students go out and compete. You know, and a breeder, you're breeding these pups, and then you put them out to compete. And we're all trying to produce champions. You know, even in the MMA game, we go out and compete. We fight MMA. We fight jiu-jitsu. We're trying to produce champions. So I have, you know, fortunately, I have been able to produce many champions when it comes to MMA and jiu-jitsu. So I'm looking to transfer that over to this game here. So anyway, I'm really excited about this new little venture. I'm looking at January. I'm looking at January to start jumping this off. I'm still, like I said, I'm still building this foundation. My son actually taught me a great lesson. Recently, where I'm doing my push-ups and my pull-ups, and about foundations. Now, you know, he reminded me of this lesson. So I'm watching him build these blocks, and he puts the first block down, puts the second block. The second block's a little, you know, it's not really solid. It's off to the side a little bit. Puts the third block, the fourth, it all crumbles. So I'm still going. I'm watching him problem solve. He puts down the block again. Then he puts the second block, make sure it's solid. The third block, make sure it's solid. And then he puts the fourth and fifth, and they're not as stable as the other one, but the whole thing didn't crumble. And it just reminded me of that life lesson of how strong a foundation and how important a foundation is. His foundation was strong when he built these blocks, so it didn't crumble. It got a little, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? A little shaky at the top, you know, a little, you know, questionable at the top, but it didn't fold because the foundation was strong. So that's where I'm at right now. You know, I'm over here trying to build this foundation. I'm looking at it as a business. I'm looking to build this foundation on both things, on my breeding side. But, you know, those are like buns in the oven. That's going to be a little while. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a businessman. I'm like, you know what? I got some bread laying around. Let me go ahead and invest it. You know, invest this $20,000 into this game. And I don't expect to get it back in the first show. If I do, great. If not, I'm going to keep pushing. You know, I like to say I'm not in the business of like losing a penny. You know what I'm saying? If I don't get it on the first one, I'm going to get it, you know, maybe not even the second, you know, the third, the fourth. The thing is, I'm not going to stop till I get it. The thing is, another thing about me is, man, I didn't come from a rich family. A lot of trial and error, a lot of grinding, a lot of suffering. If you want, I don't want to call it suffering. A lot of sacrificing, I guess. You know, living paycheck to paycheck. $1.75 in my bank account till payday type of stuff. You know, now I'm a business owner, but this was happening throughout my life where I'm eating tuna and corn and trying to chase these dreams of being a UFC fighter. You know, I fought professionally MMA, but fell short of my UFC dreams. You know, I'm almost like not even almost. I feel like I'm a better coach than I was competitor. You know what I'm saying? You know, don't wrong. I got some W's too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not losing everything, but still, you know, I fell a little short. But I'm glad to be able to help other people reach their goals. You know what I'm saying? I'm real. You know, anyway. Forget about it. We're getting off into another subject here. So yeah, man, that's the new deal. I got some other videos coming up. I got some some other context I want to kind of go. I did some experiments, some trial and error. I'll probably make my next video about that. It was cool. It was kind of successful. Remember, I'm new to this bully game, super new. So I did a little trial and error. Nothing that's going to put anybody in harm or any puppies in harm. Nothing like that. Just it was some normal old trial and error. It worked. So I'll talk about it on the next one. And another thing, you know, I appreciate anybody always trying to help out. You know, help out. I appreciate anybody reaching out. I appreciate, you know, anybody that has positive vibes, even constructive criticism. There's a chick, a girl, a woman. Her channel's Novelty Canine, and she breeds Dachshunds. Man, she's you know, she's cool. She helped me out. She's always commenting and like writing, you know, her, you know, putting down her knowledge and sharing her knowledge. And you could tell, like, man, she really wants to help. And she actually did help me, like real time help me. I actually, right now, you know, I'll probably post a video at the end of this thing here. So she, you know, I believe I mentioned about walking my dogs and they're pulling and I'm embarrassed. So she had wrote in the comments and she had said, hey, yeah, what I do is I put the leash under their arm and then they don't like to pull. You know, when you walk your dogs, if you know, and I'm sure everybody's watching this probably has a dog. And when you're walking your dog, sometimes a leash, if you don't have a harness, it goes under their armpit. You usually fix it, and then you go. You're good to go. You know what I'm saying? So I did it. Yeah, I did it, and man, they don't pull. They didn't. I just walked back in the door because we got this hurricane coming up. Just walked back in the door, and I did that. It was funny though because I was telling my wife, I'm going, and they're like, man, you'll see in the video, they're not pulling. They ain't doing nothing. They're kind of like, they're just going at a great pace. I'm always going to do that now until they stop. So I'm over there, you know, walking them, doing the thing, and then, you know, I'm at letting them run around, and I was on my way back, and it was funny because, you know, I'm 45 years old, just turned 45, so I come from a different generation, you know what I'm saying? But I got students, and they're, you know, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, all ages. But they always talk about the Crocs and putting them in sport mode. See, I don't come from them days, you know what I'm saying? I didn't really have sport mode. If anything, you know, I had the old school house shoes like Debo and them used to wear from Friday. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I used to be a gang member back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Reformed and cool. You know what I'm saying? And but anyway, so we didn't have sport mode. I guess sport mode was flipping up the back of them Debo shoes. You call them house shoes. You know, back in the day. So anyway, I'm walking them and I got it under their arm. And then it, you know, started raining, so I was like, you know what? I was like, all right, it's time to go. So I let it go from under their arm and did the normal, like around their neck, and boom. That's the first thing that popped in my mind. Sport mode, they just took off, you know, pulling. And I'm like, good, it's raining. I'm not sitting here trying to tiptoe right now in through this rain, so it was kind of cool to do that. But anyway, so yeah, you know, I appreciate all the people. I appreciate all the people reaching out to me too, you know, from this YouTube video, man. I got a lot of people saying, hey, you know, I'm reaching out. I seen your YouTube video asking about studs, asking about doing business in the future, asking about different things. You know, not really much because remember, I'm new too. So they're not asking me really too many questions, but they like the way the pups are. They like the way they look. More or less asking about the puppies, if they're ready to breed, if they're ready to stud, if we can collaborate in the future. They're not really, you know, not too much knowledge of like, hey man, what do you know. They're not asking me much about that. So here, look. Thanks to Canine Novelty. Look at that, man. They're usually just pulling and dragging. Look how slow they're going. And this is definitely not pulling. This might be pulling for somebody else. This is definitely not pulling for me. This was right now, not too long ago. Look at that. Look at that. That works, man. So, man, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate it, man. Have a good night. Everybody be safe. Peace.